Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This video is a third part of a story how I get a vintage deck, vintage tonearm, assemble everything together and get this awesome record player. After that I set up the tonearm parameters and now I am just enjoying its great sound. Today I have a company of Mr. Miles Davis. It's just outstanding how it plays. All right, and in this video I will tell a story why and how I came by this deck and why I chose this SAEC 9-inch tonearm. My name is Alexey. This is the Cyberwind channel. 1, 2, 3, rock and roll. I filmed the main part of this video before I even assembled this deck, and I was going to include it to the main video, but it turned out to be too long, so I decided to make it separate. Yeah, I hope you will enjoy it. Let's go! Actually, installing tonearms isn't something I do on a daily basis. It's a task that clearly demands a good deal of skill and precision. And I must admit, I am not exactly known for my craftsmanship. In fact, quite the opposite. So, how did I end up filming this video? Well, I have had 2 record players in my living room for quite some time. And I found it incredibly convenient. You can prepare a record while the other one is playing. Plus, I was experimenting with different cartridges, looking for what suited me best. And in general, having an alternative is always a good thing. One of the players is this amazing micro SAEC DD8 player. I love this one. This one is really good. And here on this place it was a Victor QL7, another vintage player. The Victor is an exceptionally good one with a fantastic motor and an excellent tonearm. If you are on the lookout for a vintage workhorse kind of player, I highly recommend considering this Victor QL7 model. It's both affordable and reliable. Actually, I ended up giving it to my father, then he mentioned he wanted one. Probably I would not part with it if it wasn't for my father. And this Victor still looks and works great at my father's place. So then I started searching for a replacement. In 2024, I believe that then it comes to vintage audio components, you still get more value for your money compared to buying new audio components. Of course, I could be wrong. My experience is limited. I tried a few amplifiers, few record players, few acoustic systems. Modern technology has far surpassed what was available in 70s, of course. But today I still lean toward vintage, except then it comes for cartridges. But this one actually is a vintage one. It's a SAEC phono cartridge on a SAEC. What's the name? Head shell, on a SAEC head shell. So that makes it a nice kit, but one day I will replace this phono cartridge with a modern one. Yeah, the phono cartridges they wear out pretty quickly and quicker than amplifiers or turnables or whatever it is. So again, my personal opinion, I go with vintage audio technique. Anyway, I still was looking for a replacement for my Victor QL7 turnable, and the same seller who sold me Victor QL7, which was actually my very first record player, mentioned that he had something special. And then he showed me this beauty. It's the TEAC TN400 motor and TEAC TK400 deck or plinth. It looks fantastic. And also the seller told me that back in the day this was a really high-end model with particularly advanced motor that used this magnet flow technology, so some magnet to reduce internal load that makes it easier to spin. And yeah, these amazing electro touch buttons. This was released in 1973, so amazing, exactly like this album. But yeah, let's get back to the audio parts. So I liked it and I bought it. Of course, one may see that this deck was missing a tonearm. There was just an empty space on the arm board. There was a hole here. I patched it up. Naturally, the prospect of installing a tonearm was a bit daunting, but I thought to myself, well, I'll manage. I think a true vinyl enthusiast should install a tonearm at least once. We'll see how it goes. By the time I was picking a tonearm for this record player, for this deck, I had read numerous articles about various audio components, including tonearms. For some reason, there seemed to be a common settlement that stock tonearms were somewhat subpar, and that upgrading them to a custom tonearm would significantly enhance your system's sound. I don't know. This one has a great tonearm. So I am rather skeptical of such claims. After all, why would manufacturers equip their record players with poor quality tonearms? But it's clear that everyone tends to praise what they have tried and liked. However, certain tonearms are consistently praised more than others. So there might be something to it. From my perspective, the best way to determine the truth is through first-hand experience. So I decided to go for a high-end tonearm. A really classy one. There is quite a bit of hype surrounding vintage SME tonearms, with the narrative being SME are the best. Well, maybe. After all, they were installed on a lot of radio stations. One of the key features of SME tonearms is knife edge bearing, which is said to work some sort of magic on the sound of vinyl records. I delved deeper and I discovered that there is a classic SME 3009 tonearm, a standard 9-inch tonearm, followed by a later model SME 3009 S2 improved. And the latter, despite being improved, has nylon knives in the bearing instead of metal, which some claim negatively impacts the sound. So it's a bit confusing, you know, for me. Like I wanted to get the more advanced model, but it was not clear which one is the best to go. And I was also a bit put off by some articles suggesting that SME tonearms are not the easiest to set up properly. Now, I'm not saying that all of this is necessarily true, and I've never tried an SME tonearm myself, so they might be very well the best still. But all of this raised some doubts in my mind. The second most common name I encountered in my search for a top-notch tonearm was SAEC. SAEC is a Japanese company specializing almost exclusively in tonearms. SAEC tonearms feature a double knife edge bearing. Double, you see? Which sounds like a 2 times better technology than SMEs, and they never used any suspicious nylon materials for their knives. You know, that's a good sign for me. SAEC released its first model, the WE308, either in 1971 or 1974. I've seen both dates mentioned in different articles. They were well received and highly praised by audiophiles. However, as I understand, a significant part of Japanese culture is constant pursuit of perfection. So SAEC kept moving, releasing 5 or 6 outstanding models in the 70s. The WE407 model, I have this one, was released in 1980. It is one of their last models from the golden era. You know, it was 1980, and in 2 years, in 1982, the CD was introduced. Probably even before that, I'm not sure, but somewhere around that time. And the introduction of the CD dealt a serious blow to the vinyl industry. As we all know, vinyl entered a sort of a coma in the 90s and is only now beginning to recover. This 407 model, because it is one of the latest SAEC tonearm of the golden era, and clearly it should have accumulated all the SAEC technology available up to this point. This is a 9-inch tonearm, and you know there are tonearms of different lengths. Main are 9, 10 and 12-inch long tonearms. And once again, I did some research on the topic of tonearm length. Some sources claim that 12-inch tonearms sound significantly better with less track and error and are the only ones worth considering. Other sources argue that 12-inch tonearms were designed solely for use with 16-inch records. You know, there was such a thing as 16-inch record. Unbelievable. And that these 12-inch tone arms offer no advantage playing on these standard discs or records. So once again, I am not sure what the ultimate truth is regarding the choice between 12 and 9 inches of tone arm. What I do know is that longer tone arms have higher effective mass, which means fewer compatible cartridges are available for these long tone arms. For those unfamiliar with how it all works, the needle of a phono cartridge is attached to its body by a special holder called a cantilever, which is connected via some form of suspension. As the needle moves along the record groove, the vibration is transmitted through the cantilever and suspension to a magnet coil system, producing sound. The same vibration is also passed to the tone arm. The cantilever and suspension of a cartridge can be more or less rigid. This parameter is referred to as dynamic compliance in the specifications. Tone arms has different masses and the effective mass is specified for each tone arm. This is probably a good topic for a separate video, but in short, it is crucial to maintain an optimal resonance frequency between the cartridge and the tone arm. A cartridge must be matched to a tone arm to achieve its best sound. The heavier the tone arm, the lower the compliance the cartridge should have. Conversely, the lighter the tone arm, the higher the compliance, the softer the cartridge should have. Nowadays, most standard tone arms are medium weight and most cartridges are medium compliance, so generally speaking, everything fits everything and there is no need to worry. But for this kind of vintage parts, you should pay attention. So again, in short, high compliance cartridge goes well with low mass tone arm, and high compliance or low compliance cartridge goes well with high mass tone arm. So this is how it works. Returning to my dilemma of choosing between 9-inch or 12-inch tone arm, I opted for this moderate mass 9-inch tone arm to have a wider selection of cartridges available. One day I still would like to try a 12-inch tone arm and decide for myself if it's worth the hype. So, all in all, this is my kit, TEAC TN400 and SAEC WE407. And only after I got it all in my hands, it came to me that I saw this TEAC SAEC combo somewhere. And yes, if I am not mistaken, it was 2019 when TEAC company introduced a brand new turnable, or even a series of turnables, TN3B, TN4D, TN5BB, and to a pleasure of all vinyl lovers, these players featured the knife-edge tonearm, which is a SAEC and TEAC collaboration. You see, my this little venture here is completely aligned with the official SAEC and TEAC company's vector of business development. For me, it's just a nice coincidence. Both SAEC and TEAC companies are still active. TEAC is quite visible, it produces a lot of audio components. SAEC is a bit more inconspicuous, but they still make tonearms in the very high-end segment. Their WE4700 arm, which is actually the successor of this 407 we have here, costs more than 10 grand US dollars. So must be pretty good tonearm. As for me, I paid around $500 for the motor and plinth, about 1,000 for the tonearm. This is quite a lot actually, and for the same money one can get a brand new TEAC TN5BB player, which seems to be an astonishingly great player. And again, it is really hard to tell which one would play better. This one, of course, if assembled properly, which I will personally see too, or the modern TEAC TN5BB. So anyway, I decided to go with these ancient mammoths because I am able to get a modern player at any moment. They do not go anywhere and gets only better and better. And also, you know, personally, I feel some warmth to these vintage beauties. I mean, I just like them a lot. That's the whole story. Thank you very much for your attention. In next videos, I plan to compare how different record players, I have 3 of them now, this TEAC, Micro SAEC and a modern project, how they play with the same cartridge. Is there any difference within the record players themselves? Was it all worth it? So stay tuned. Thanks again for your attention. Enjoy great sound and listen to a great music. Bye bye bye.